Hello and welcome back to another Instagram Live and Artist Stories. I'm Tara Vahal, founder of Loud Art Society. Today we have another great artist that I'm very excited to introduce to you and also learn about her myself, Puja Bhakoo. She's from India and she's a tapestry artist. But while she's going to join us, I'm just going to say a few words about Loud Art Society. Loud Art Society is a non-profit organization that enhances health through art and creativity. We've been in the city of Calgary since 2015 and we've been operating. And throughout this time, we have provided several different projects, programs, and events that have been public and absolutely humanitarian. And we received a very good feedback so far. Since the pandemic has started, we have started this new project with Artist Stories that we are connecting with artists from all around the world and asking them to come and join us here on our Instagram Live and share their stories. All right, I see that Puja is already here. I'm just going to let her in. Hi, Puja.
Hi, Tara. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So it seems like all is good with you. We're just going to jump right in and start with your introduction. Please
Sure.
introduce yourself to us. Let us know where are you from and what kind of art you've been making so far.
Okay. So I'm a tapestry artist from India, and I create handcrafted needlepoint tapestries and thread paintings on fabric with wool and thread. So secondly, I'm the founder of Tapestry for Charity, which is an initiative that uses the proceeds of my, the sale of my tapestries for the education and the rehabilitation of underprivileged children in India. I am also an art professional, and I'm a creative writer, a blogger, and a poet. And I am in the process of writing a book, which is an anthology of my, my write-ups, my poems, and my life experiences. So I belong to a very small town in India, from northern India. It's called Sanpo. But nevertheless, it's on the global map because it's known for the wood inlay work, which is exported across the world. So I remember since childhood, I had this passion to dip my finger into every hobby pie, whether it was embroidery or painting or crochet or, tatting, knitting, you name it. And, I would love to do it. It was like that. So, and it had nothing to do with the, me really. It was just that the entire ambience of my neighborhood, it was like that. Everybody was into art and craft or something or the other. So I just started, I was automatically, I imbibed all that. And I was bitten by the recycling bug very early in life. So, I would make these glass pyramids out of these small bottles of medicine that used to be lying out there. Or I would make paper flowers out of newspapers, or I would make dolls out of rags. So any and every waste product was, it was like, it was fodder for some creative action. So, I would say that I picked up, the moment I picked up a brush and the moment I learned how to thread a needle, that is when I got into art. And as right from my childhood, I wanted to do my own business and be my own boss. So after completing college, my first business idea came from my passion for embroidery and crochet and handicrafts. So I put together a team of some 14, 15 women, and I used to create these hand-knitted sweaters for children. And I was supplying to some of the leading brands in India at that time. And so my company was called PJ Crafts, after my name, Puja. And PJ Crafts was a lot of fun, but since it was a seasonal business, it was sweaters. So I still had time on hand. So I wanted to do something which would help me work-wise and keep me busy. So I had heard that advertising was an upcoming line at that time. I'm talking about some 30 years back. and which was not only creative, it was also lucrative. So I decided to take the plunge, and I got into advertising. But for this, I had to move to a satellite town of Delhi, which did not have the same market dynamics as Delhi. As a result, my PJ Crafts was facing challenges. And also, it was becoming difficult for me to, pendulate between two businesses and to look after the family and all. So ultimately, PJ Crafts had to be relegated to the status of a hobby, and I got full throttle into advertising. So I think the next couple of years were very, very busy, learning the nuances of the work and all. And so then there was a lot of learning, and there was reasonable earning also. But then a string of personal and professional challenges happened, which marred my career, and they completely derailed it. But so that was a very challenging phase. But my passion for my hobbies and all, they saw me through, because I never lost that positive mindset because of my all these passions. And so I started once again from the scratch. I pulled myself together, and I started a new agency, and I built it up brick by brick. And so the next almost 2 decades went in just working day and night, and so that was a very, very busy period. And I remember we were, my husband and I, in our mid-40s, we decided that we had kind of built a retirement corpus, nothing very ostentatious, but it was enough to look after our old age. So then we saw that, there's no point keep striving to make more and more money. So maybe whatever we have, if that's enough for us, let's start, ticking a bucket list and pursuing our auxiliary interests. So that is when we retired. We decided that the day we touch 50 years of age, we'll retire. And so that's what we did. And so after that, I got into tapestry making, and I got into charity was a very, very integral part of my bucket list. So that is how I got into tapestry and charity.
Beautiful. Very nice introduction.
Sorry, was it too long?
No, it was great. So you mentioned that you went to the college as well. Did you do art again in college, or you did something else?
I did my BSc in home science. So, tapestry and embroidery were a part of it. We had this clothing and textile practicals where we were taught this. But I think those 3 years that I did my home science, they went only in the teachers trying to convince us that home science is the science of the science, So the emphasis was not too much on other things. It was just, it's a science. It's no less than any science and that kind of a thing. But yes, it did make some kind of a base. And I got my exposure to Pati Pua, which is what I pursued for a number of years. I went through some books in the college library, and that's how I got to know the nuances of the craft. So home science definitely helped me.
So the focus of our organization is mainly on the health benefits that practicing any form of art and creativity can have for us. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that your practice had any effects on your health at all?
Well, yes, definitely. More than 3 decades into tapestry making, I have to say that it has, I can vouch for the fact that it has a lot of physical as well as psychological benefits. And it's, I think, creating an intricate design from stitch by stitch is, it induces a kind of calm which is akin to a yoga or meditation. Mm-hmm. And I think tapestry making, or any art form for that matter, is the most potent antidepressant, because and it's been proved medically also that it reduces your cortisol levels, and also it enhances the production of happiness hormones like serotonin and oxytocin and dopamine and endorphins. So those kind of things. And I have always been on a this perpetual emotional high because of the work that I do, and I'm so engrossed in it all the time. And there is just so much art to appreciate, and there are so many ideas to imbibe. There is so much joy to give and to receive through art. So it's one cannot stop saying how good it can be for your mind, for your soul, for your in fact, you might have heard of this concept called which is a Japanese concept. And I think the most important thing is about practicing an art is that it gives you a sense of purpose. And this sense of purpose is called Ikigai. It's a Japanese concept, which is basically a meeting ground of four things, which is, what you're passionate about, and what is good for the society. That is your mission. So your passion, your mission, and then what you're good at doing, which is your vocation, and finally your profession is what you make money out of. So basically, when these four elements get together, that is your Ikigai, and that gives you a purpose in life, and that gives you the strength to get up in the morning and to get down to what you want to do. So I think I found my Ikigai through Tapestry for Charity, where my passion is embroidery. My mission is to help people in whatever way I can. My vocation is tapestry making, and I could make it into a profession. So all these things come together. So I found my Ikigai, and I do hope everybody finds theirs, because it's makes life so much more worth living.
Definitely, beautifully said. Did you say it's
yes?
IT?
But before I finish off, there is some collateral damage that happens also. I mean, where we talk about all those health benefits, it's also if you overdo it, like I do it, I'm like that. So then you get a problem in the neck, or you get a frozen shoulder, or you get a weak eyesight, and you get insomnia. So those kind of things also happen. But of course, it's a small price.
Yeah, balance is very important. Knowing when to stop, and I always.
But the temptation is so great.
Exactly.
What to do?
I think
you as an artist, you would know.
Yeah, and I think that it's very important to work safely, when you're working on your art. And you're right, we lose the track of time when we're working on the project. And you're right, you might injure your neck and back, and
like I say, time flies on the wings of creative energy, and just when you're into it, it flies. I blink and 3 hours gone. I blink and 2 hours gone. It's literally like that.
So yeah, it's important to get up, take a stretch, and definitely have some physical activity on the side.
I think I should put alarms for that.
Yeah, so you don't get, don't injure yourself, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, I hope not. I want to do it till the last day of my life, so I better look after myself. No, I do squeeze in about half an hour of exercise a day, but I don't like anything that keeps me away from my embroidery.
Great. Yeah, that's nice. So, what is the theme of your artwork? So, does it have any theme at all?
Yes, of course. There are, in fact, I've been doing different forms, and every form that I do has some theme or the other. For almost, there's a little background that I might give you. How I started doing, how I came down to doing tapestries. So when I was running my business, and like I told you that PJ Crafts was relegated to the status of a hobby, but it was a hobby that I was pursuing with a lot of passion. And so that time I used to source these quick stitch kits from the market, which had a painted canvas, and it had some skeins and all for you to embroider. But those those designs are very unimaginative. So they were like these these lugubrious looking horses or some slowly looking scenery. So nothing really that would tickle my pituitary gland really. So I came to a point where I thought that if I have to take my hobby to the next level, I should paint my own canvas. And something very interesting happened around that time, that I had this wool supplier from whom I used to source my wool for PJ Crafts. So his store had a short circuiting, and all his woolen yarn got burnt at the ends. So it was, he had these yarn, he had shreds of wool line with him. And so he didn't know what to do with them. So, he implored me to help him out. And he says, if you can possibly just get this albatross off my back. So, and for no other reason, but just out of sympathy for that person, I said, okay, whatever you have, I'll buy it off you. And so I bought an entire room full of woolen shreds without even seeing what it was. And when I bought it off him, I paid him the money, and then when I opened the door of that store and I saw, a whole room full of this colorful yarn. So that kind of turned out to be my eureka moment, because I was already toying with the idea of, painting my own canvas. So then, and Pati Pua was something I'd read about in my college library. So I had a fair idea about what it is. It's an ancient European art form, which was very popular in the 18th century. And it was practiced by the elite and the ruling classes of that era. So since that knowledge was already with me, I started, I said, okay, so fine. Instead of using those threads for tapestry making, why don't I use woolen yarn? And so now I already had my idea. I had these, these yarns with me. Now I needed a muse, basically, to develop a range of artworks instead of doing just one random thing. I wanted to develop some kind of a theme for my artworks. And I just happened to be visiting Rajasthan at that time. And Rajasthan is in Western India. It is, we are very proud of Rajasthan. It has a very rich cultural heritage. And lots of people who come from abroad, they always make it a point to visit Rajasthan. So when I went to Rajasthan, I saw these very good-looking men with the chiseled jawlines and those handlebar mustaches and those very colorful turbans. And I said, wow, that's my muse. I'm going to make portraits out of that. So that is where I got my idea. And now when I came back, I took a lot of pictures and all there. And then when I came back, so then I put my passion for embroidery, my, my knowledge of pati point, and my exposure to designing software thanks to my advertising career. And I started to create digital portraits. So, I scanned those pictures and then I changed the colors and all on Photoshop to suit my decor because I have this affinity for earth colors. So I did that. And then you know how it is, you can enlarge, you can scale up a painting to any width size by making a grid on it. So I would draw a grid on the paper, I would draw a similar grid on fabric and, increase the size manifold. And then I would sketch and paint roughly, and then finally do pati point embroidery on that. So that is how I was able to create these pati point pieces. And what happened in the bargain was, because this is a European art, so nobody had actually done Indian men, with those, with this kind of a look. Yeah. So I was able to, in that way, reinvent pati point with an Indo-ethnic dimension, which turned out to be a USP of sorts. And, I finally became known for that. So that is the story. Now I've created so many portraits over a period of time that every wall in my house, they adorn every wall of my house. And my friends used to keep urging me to, go commercial with my hobby, but I didn't need to and I didn't want to. And, I was very emotionally connected to my work. So I never thought of doing that. Again, I think I'm stretching it too far.
No, I'm just wondering if you could show us some of your artworks if they are around. We would love to see. I'm sure our viewers are also interested to see some of these works.
Yes, sure, I'll show you. Would you like to see it now, or it will?
Sure. Yeah. While you talked about them, I'm really interested to see like the size and dimension of these works and just see the colors that you have used.
Okay. I'll just show you a couple of them and then we come back. Okay, so this in the background is turbanated, and I must have created this tapestry almost 10 years back. But since these are framed in glass, so they are ageless. Once you create them, you cannot tell the age. Even 20 years from now, it'll probably look just like this. And next. I'll be doing different genres. So this one here is, once I went commercial with my hobby, I could not afford I didn't have that much time, the liberty of spending 3 to 10 months on one tapestry. So then I had to redefine my, style of tapestry making. And I came up with different concepts. And one of those concepts is this is called Mystic Strokes. It's just simple lines and nothing else. So this was at a time when, I wanted to, I was just so done with all the consumerism around, and, I wanted to declutter my own mind, and I wanted to declutter my art also. And coming from a place where, I was making tapestries which were so rich in the tactile elements, with the colorful turbans and this and that. What I first did was, Mystic Strokes came later, but what I first did was, I'll just show you. I did nude aesthetics. So it was like it was almost a 180 from doing pieces which were laden with clothes and turbans and all kinds of things. I stripped it down totally to nothing, absolutely. And so what happens is, costumes and these tactile elements, they tend to box the subject, your subject, into a certain time period, into a certain ethnicity, a certain era. But the moment you strip your subject of any costumes and all, it becomes, it is free for the appreciator of your art to interpret it in whichever way he wants. That every person has his own story and his own connection with the nude. No two persons will look at a nude and probably think the same way. It depends a lot on their own personal experiences and their own stories. So these are nude aesthetics. And I'm just taking you around, no chronology, because I'm taking you around my drawing room, so whichever way. And this is Son of the Soil. Again, this was created almost about 20 years back when I was pretty young. Pretty young.
How long did it take you to embroider this kind of scale of artwork?
See, something like this, which is about 4 feet by 6 feet, would take me 8 to 9 months to create. But that time, since it was a hobby, time was of there was no restraint on time. I could go on. In fact, my husband used to tell me, he says, you make them so fast, I have to get them framed. So why don't you make bigger sizes? At least, it'll give me some respite. That's another piece. This was maybe right at the beginning. There's too much light on it, so it can't be seen properly. This is another nude aesthetic. Beautiful. Different interpretations of nudes. I've done about 30 to 40 nudes almost till now. That's another one there. And then this is again a needlepoint tapestry. I call him lugubrious because his expression is like that. Now this is an Afghan, not a Rajasthani.
I know this.
And again, so you see a mix of nudes and nude. So this is again nude aesthetics. This is something I've done recently. And this here is Zorawar. This is among the biggest pieces as far as Pati Puan tapestries are concerned. And
how big is this one?
Sorry?
How big is that one?
Sorry?
How big was it?
This is about 6 feet by 5 feet or something like that. And then this this is another one. And so, I mean, I think you get the drift. So that there are a lot of them now. So maybe we can get back.
That one looks very familiar.
It does? Oh, you can make out Amitabh Bachchan. Yeah, this is, a role that Amitabh Bachchan did in a movie called Eklavya. So this tapestry is also called Eklavya after that.
Very nice. So, Puja, do you count your art pieces? Do you know how many pieces do you have?
No, not really. I was counting for quite some time, and then I lost count. Now I can't really say because the initial ones, which were pretty sad, those have been they are displayed at my brothers and my parents' place and all, and they are still very proud of them. But I mean, I think it's a grotesque if if I were to say. But since they display it so proudly, I don't have the heart to tell them that please don't do it. And also now what I do is whenever I create a tapestry, because I've been into creative writing and poetry and all, so I write a poem on my tapestries and all. And in fact, now when the lockdown happened, I created a series called the Mindscape. Mindscape was basically this lockdown has affected different people in different ways, and the pandemic has affected people. So basically, it calls upon the mind, the human mind, to reimagine and to reform new connections and basically how make new neural connections in order to come out of the situation. Because after all, a human mind has a lot of power, and they can think and make fresh neural connections and come out of any problem. And I'm sure we will ultimately. So Mindscape series was about that. And there was a poem also that I wrote on the lockdown initially when it happened, basically for motivation. And you know how it was a relief to the ecosystem in a way. If you remember how much we were abusing the ecosystem, you know, the geography. And so I talk about that relief. So if you give me an opportunity, I'll just read out one of those poems.
Of course, yeah.
If you have the time.
Yeah, we do.
We do? Okay. Okay. So I'll read out my poem, which is, which says, the trees are the deeper hue of green, complicated lives decrypted clean. The grass is a brighter shade of lush, life devoid of maddening rush. The waters are a crystal blue, uncluttered minds replenished anew. The birds hum a happy song, reclaiming lost skies where they belong. Stars sparkle with unknown sheen, clouds milkier than ever been. Pollution wiped off innocent skies, false pride from egoistical eyes. So much going right for Mother Nature, reinstated partly to original stature. Shorn of consumeristic malls and pubs, and parlor-fueled vanity rubs. Refurbished senses, clearer goals, mall rats transformed into inspired souls. Insulated from all the plastic glitter, mankind becomes mentally fitter. Learning new minimalistic ways of being, not merely looking, but really seeing. Shunning all crutches of modern din, finding a stronger self within. Hope shines through unsealed blinds, cobwebs cleared from overworked minds. Recalibrated life, recalibrated time, emeralds dusted of emotional grime. Spring cleaned minds, stripped of the mesh, raring to venture out afresh. Amidst some disorder, tiffs and tears, there is also love, camaraderie and cheers. Hardships may last perhaps a bit longer, but cleansed of excesses, we'll come out stronger. Studded with optimism, values and honor, a better world is round the corner. Rising from the ashes, defeating the skeptic, we'll build a new world, brick by brick.
Beautiful. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Thanks.
I have a question now that you read this poem. Do you write any poetries in Indian as well, or you?
In Hindi, no. I do think in Hindi, and but I haven't really written poems in Hindi. Though I used to come first in my Hindi class, and maybe one day I'll start. And in fact, after this Mindscapes, I did another series which I'm doing currently also. It's called Pandemic. So this is basically, the pandemic has affected everybody. We know that, but it has affected different people on different levels, because it may have affected us, but it's affected, the people who can ill afford, especially the daily wages kind of people. It's affected them far more than it has affected us. So it calls, basically it calls upon people to show more kindness and to be more magnanimous towards those kind of people. So there are very short 3-4 lines that I would like to read out for that. It's a concept note for my pandemic poem. It says, across a changed world blinks a disoriented heart. Fragile dreams lie scattered 6 feet apart. A small act of kindness can bring them from the brink, for compassion has far more healing power than you think. Let's overwhelm the world with little bits of caring, because no one ever became poorer by giving or sharing.
Exactly.
So this is on pandemic.
Very nice. Thank you very much. All right. So, Puja, what is your perspective on art and creativity?
Art, I very firmly believe that art is it is like it's a tripartite collaboration between the creator and then the appreciator and the universe. So it is it's like they say, every work of art is one half of a secret handshake, and it's a cryptic puzzle that seeks a password or a key, and that password lies in the in the eyes of the appreciator. Also, I think art is a verb. If you have to describe a concept, if you describe it in words, words will always fall short. But art can express the things which words, which nouns and adjectives cannot. So art is a verb which basically merges, different textures and tonalities and sizes and shapes and colors and forms and values, and it communicates the nuances and the intricacies and the fragilities of a concept so much better than words. So that is what art does. And also, I think, let's face it, on a longer enough time scale, all the creative work that we produce, whether it is art or music or literature or science, it is destined to turn to dust, and so are we for that matter. But it is the electricity of those moments that we, when we put life's problems on hold, and, when we become one with our creation. So that entire process is so fascinating, and it's so worthwhile that it makes everything else worthwhile. And as far as creativity is concerned, I think the creative process itself is the reward. You don't need somebody to appreciate your art for that matter, because while you're creating it and the energy that you get, that itself is your reward. So you don't really need to go commercial with your art as such. And I've also, I say that a work of art you never really complete. You abandon it, because you will only leave it if you've got fresh inspiration for something else. Otherwise, you can keep working on a piece of art to any which length.
That's true.
Those are kind of some of my views.
I just made some notes from your sayings. I'm paying attention. Beautifully said. Thank you very much. So I guess now that you mentioned that, would you like to collaborate with other artists?
Collaboration I'm always up for if it's for a charitable cause, because my entire reason of getting going commercial with my hobby was that I wanted to donate for charity, the proceeds from my tapestries. So any collaboration that helps the poor people, and there is no dearth of them in a country like ours, so I'm always up for it. And in fact, I'm recently, I'm in the process of finalizing a collaboration with the acid scar warriors. We don't call them victims, we call them warriors. And there have been about almost 1,500 acid cases, acid attack cases in India in the last 5 years. And most of the people who've suffered the brunt of this is, young girls who've spurned the lovers, and these frustrated lovers have just thrown acid on their faces. So what I'm trying to do is, I was trying to help them through my initiative, Tapestry for Charity, but that help is ad hoc, and that's more for underprivileged children, and that is happening. So I thought that instead of helping them in an ad hoc manner, maybe I should devise a mean of generating incomes for them and making them a part of my initiative. So now what I'm planning to do is to mentor acid scar survivors, and teach them tapestry making. I really have to work out the logistics, because there's so much ad-libbing and extemporization that happens. So I need to work that out. But where we can collaborate in such a manner that they create, I curate, and we find a medium to exhibit those artworks, and then the proceeds can go to those people. So that is another collaboration that I'm about to finalize pretty soon.
That's very nice. It's actually very sad. You did share with me that poems of yours that was on the YouTube, and I watched it. It's very sad to know about this, and this is not only in India. Actually, it happens in Iran as well, and not only towards human beings. They do that towards animals too, which is even more cruel. Like why? And it's really heartbreaking. I don't know if you want to share that poem with us. I'd love
to do that. In my readers club, we had recently read this book called Being Reshma, where Reshma was this girl who was, she's an acid attack survivor, and she went on to walk global ramp walks. So, and she became a big time model. So I was very moved by her story, and I met her, and that's the time I penned down this poem for her, and I shared it on social media to help out. And that is when I came up with this idea of involving acid scar survivors into Tapestry for charity. So I will just read out my poem for these survivors. It says, being Reshma, #victim to #warrior. The silver morning sparkled bright, a blush of sunshine kissed me awake. In my heart a happy song frolicked like a virgin snowflake. Infused with the restless euphoria of youth, clutching my dreams in the palm of my hand, I stepped out without a worldly care to win and claim my waiting dreamland. Oblivious that ominous writing on the wall, oblivious this day would be the start of it all, oblivious that somewhere not very far, stealthily was creeping up that fateful hour. Round the corner they waited for me as pearly skies turned ashen brown. Bathed in vendetta, drunk on deceit, 6 treacherous hands quelled me down. Streams of bubbling acid with relish they decanted, scalding my skin every innocent speck. Blinding screams clotted my mouth, funnels of fire slid down my neck. Engulfed by the stench of my own burning skin, my heartbeats, my sanity screeched to a stop. A blazing lava of molten flesh dripped down my cheekbones, drop by drop. Arid like a grave, sinister and sticky, bones peeped out through melted skin. Invoking the heavens, I prayed for death, my sense of existence wearing thin. A grotesque hole swallowed one sultry cold eye, but imagination transcended that excruciating pain. My soul, a crawling fetus, searched distraught the safety of my mother's womb again. Wanton I lay on a carpet of blisters, my rusted rainbow shredded to the reeds, my world amputated to a half-finished sentence, my pride, my soul singed at the seams. As my undead corpse lay slithering on the road, my wounds smoldered like the sun enraged. I fantasized flying flesh-free, my skin unzipped from this cartilage cage. Will the paralyzed crowds just stand and guzzle the cacophony of my muffled screams? Drowning in the dungeon of no man's land, will this be the grave of all my dreams? Rainbows shuddered to watch me morph from a carefree girl to a frightful witch. Rancid turned the nectars of flowers in a blink of an eye, an identity switch. A vast emptiness descended my heart, vanity whispered aloud in vain. Waves of regret rippled like a river. Will I never, ever be beautiful again? The platinum day sank into a hideous night. Cursing karma's twist, I saw shivering willows weep. Wrapped in curdled anger they cried, if life is so precious, why is acid so cheap? As the ruthless mirror cringed at my gory sight, an inner voice ascended my soul. Pounding my pride's panels it asked, were you born just to be a vessel to a loser's vitriol? The inner voice enameled my scars with courage. The universe put its might beneath my sails. Human angels united to suture my fragments, reconstruct broken faith, be what it entails. Determined my scars would not be in vain, I rose from the ashes to be whole again. Invincible, unstoppable, no chain, no acid could pin me down. Upon the corpse of your hatred, I built my new fairy town. Each day on the wings of success I flew. Each day brave new laurels I earned. Each day in a dungeon of regret you rotted. each day in the acid of frustration you burned. You plastered my face with a new password. You plundering, sinister, remorseless hacker. They call me hashtag acid victim. Why not you, hashtag acid attacker? You charred my wings, you wrote me off, derailed my destiny's entire course. I reignited my extinguished light, fortified by the angel's quadrupled force. Blazing the global ramp walks, I laugh as each day your plight plunges sorrier. Watching me win accolades and laurels and blossom from hashtag victim to hashtag warrior.
Wow, that was really powerful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yeah, why acid is so cheap and accessible? I don't understand.
Exactly, that's the whole tragedy. There's still court cases going on, and the person who scarred this girl, he's out in the open. He's already been let off. So it's a very sorry situation. That is why I want to draw more and more people's attention to the plight of these survivors, so that they can also have a decent living.
That's a very good cause that you're actually shedding some light on it. And most of these cases are actually about it's a love situation, or like it's hate. What is it?
Not even love. Sometimes girls start getting stalked by boys, and just out of frustration, or if their advances are spurned, it takes a minute to just throw it on the face. And in this case, this girl, when she had this, when she had acid thrown over her face, firstly, it was a case of mistaken identity. It was her brother-in-law who wanted to damage his own wife, in a vindictive manner. And since they were Mohammedans, they were wearing those burqas. So she wore her sister's burqa that day. So her husband thought that was his wife. And so, she suffered. Not that anybody should suffer for that matter, but it's just double tragedy when something like this happens. And since everybody was caught unawares, her own mother tried to rub off that acid from her face, which should never ever be done. One should pour water or something over it. So since she rubbed it with a scarf, so those wounds got further deepened. It's very, very sad.
What a great lesson for the brother, actually.
Yeah.
Never do that to anyone. It might end up being your own sister.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. I'm gonna move on to my next question here. My next question was that what are you working on right now? But I think you already kind of touched on that. I'm gonna move on to my next question. What are your recommendations for those people who want to start making art and want to be professional in this?
Okay, I think people who want to start making art may not even be looking out for recommendations. They might be just going and doing it, because nobody tells my 7-year-old granddaughter to go and make art. She gets this urge and she just goes and she'll pick up a brush and she'll paint something, or she'll make a craft. So it is something. It's like a hunger pang that you get, and you have to say satiated by doing something creative. So in that sense, I think it is. One does not really have to be told, but if I had to tell somebody what to do, I would say that just pick up that pen, or pick up that brush, or pick up that needle, pick up that guitar, pick up that saxophone, and just go ahead and do it.
Good story. Okay. So my next question to you is that who are you most inspired by for yourself and your art, and who encouraged you the most while you were working on your art?
There is no person that I can attribute it to as such, but there is inspiration in everything. There is just so much inspiration. There's so many people doing so many wonderful things in this world, and they are also inspiring. And for me, I get very emotional when I witness some kind of a talent. And if somebody plays a guitar beautifully, I'll go back to my tapestry and I'll try to make it even better, or if I see somebody dancing very well, I get inspired and I'll try to do my job better, that way. So in fact, I am so inspired by you that you brought this platform for artists to come and talk about themselves and to put their points of view forward. This is so inspiring for me, and I have to congratulate you for this effort also.
Thank you so much.
And so I think talent always makes me emotional, and I'm a very hard nut to crack otherwise. But there are only two occasions when I cry. One is when I listen to patriotic Hindi songs of my country. I will go. It's actually like a tear gas shell for me. I'll go howling. And secondly, when I see exceptional talent, then I have to. I mean, I'm appreciating, but there are tears just rolling down my cheeks. I don't know why. It's some anomaly, apart from all the anomalies that I have. So it's just like that. But there is inspiration in everything that I see, and also what I try to do is I try to make folders in Evernote, and I folders and then subfolders where I save my ideas and whatever. So every time I need to get back to something or to ideate, I just have to open one folder and I know exactly what is lying where because I've put it all alphabetically. So that really helps in the creative process also, and in getting inspiration.
Nice, beautiful. So here's my next question to you.
Yes.
If you could change anything about yourself, what would that be?
Okay. You might find it very funny that if I could change one thing about myself, I would change the very thing that I love about myself, which is, this self-destructive passion that I have to do everything. And not for anything else, but because my poor family suffers a lot in the bargain. They never get the whole of me. They're always sharing me either with Tapestry or with writing or with some action or the other. So they've actually kind of given up on me. And I protect my time very zealously. For me, every minute counts. And actually, every day has only 24 hours. So whatever you do, you have to take out time from that only. So that's why I'm very possessive about my time. So maybe if I wasn't so into doing this and that and trying to do everything, my family would be a little happier.
So, I'm sure they're very happy with you. Just glowing.
No, they are done till here.
Beautiful. All right. My next question to you is: if you had a superpower, what would that be?
If I had a superpower, I think I would want that superpower to build my mental muscles without my having to try. And it should not take me away from my tapestry making. But then I feel that I'm going low on intellect. So then I start reading. Then I say I must write something and other. But one part of me is missing my embroidery. So I want that superpower to just enhance my mental muscles without my having to do anything for it. But jokes apart, what I would really want is some magic wand that alleviates all poverty, all suffering from the world. And I don't want to sound like Mother Teresa saying that, but the only thing is that when I am thankful and I'm so blessed, with so many comforts and with my passions, and when I sit very happily and snug, doing my thing, I feel guilty about those who are less fortunate, and I would just feel more happy if everybody was as happy as I am. Then I would not feel guilty enjoying my happiness. So I really wish there was one wand which would alleviate depression, which would alleviate poverty and all meanness from the world.
True. Yeah, it's hard to be happy when other people aren't happy.
Exactly. So that's the issue.
True. All right. We still have about 10 more minutes. My last question from you is that where our viewers can view your work? If you have a website, if you have any social media pages, please let us know.
Yes, I have a website. It's called pujabhakoo.com. And most of my designs are there. Maybe, some of the latest ones need to be put in there. But by and large, it is pretty self-explanatory, and one can get everything one wants to know about tapestry for charity, or about, nude aesthetics, or my Patipua tapestries, mystic strokes, mindscapes, all these lines that I've created. So it's all up there. And also I have my Instagram account at Puja Bhakoo. I have a Facebook page too, and I'm showcasing online on these online art galleries such as Mojato and Saatchi and Fine Art America, and then I am showcasing here with India's leading home furnishing brand called Sarita Handa. So their showrooms, my stuff is there. Online, yes, of course, my website and these things. And the quickest way to contact me would be maybe an Insta or a LinkedIn message. I'm on LinkedIn too. So followed by an email.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so very much, Puja. Well, we still have few more minutes left.
Okay, would you like another poem? Or are you
Yeah,
done?
go ahead.
No, no, now you're done.
Go ahead.
How's Calgary treating you?
Calgary is good. I mean, the weather is changeable here. Today is pretty nice and sunny for the
Yeah.
rest of the week, but it's going to abruptly get into winter all of a sudden. So we
So, but
probably don't
how many months of summer do you really get?
about 2.5 months, maybe
Oh, that's
even.
it. That's it.
Yeah,
We get winters for that long.
yeah.
It's mostly
Winter
summer.
for about 9 months. Yeah.
But Tara, I've seen your work on YouTube. You know, you create these with newspapers. You've been doing some very fascinating work. So where can one source that? Are you selling it also, or are those
Um.
creations for that channel only?
No. I have those works on my website.
Okay.
On taravahab.com.
Okay.
And I'm just weaving the newspapers. So I've been collecting newspapers for some time now, and I'm putting them together. I started with like different projects. First,
Hmm.
here's like a little brain I made.
Oh
Uh,
wow! Oh, this is newspaper.
yes, it's
This
also
is
newspaper.
so awesome.
And then
Wow.
slowly I started playing more with it, and it ended up turning into waving them and putting them together. And I really liked the idea of that, and eventually I made a dress out of it, and now I just want to make more, and I don't know, I can put them together, I can make so many different shapes and forms out of it, and I
Okay.
tried some of them in the nature as well, hanging from a tree, those kinds of things, yeah.
Yeah. So you must be collecting newspapers from all your neighbors and everybody. Nobody must be selling it or
Yeah,
giving it out.
for some time, yes. I've been collecting all the newspaper, and here we see newspaper a lot just laying around, like they just distribute it for free everywhere. And
Hmm.
I always felt like it's sometimes people just throw it out, and it
Yeah.
creates lots of garbage too. It's
Hmm.
so I'm like, well, here's a way to use it.
But are you still getting newspapers? Because here, because of the pandemic, we've stopped getting newspapers. You know, we check out the news on the phone or the iPad or something. So we haven't ordered newspapers in the last 4 or 5 months. So you would have had a tough time in this kind of a situation.
I already collected so much newspapers sitting there, so I'm just out of space right now. I'm looking for some more space so I can, because these are
Yeah.
pretty big. Once I leave them,
Yeah.
they get big very fast, and I need some space to store them. So I stopped for some time. I'm waiting to kind of make some room and hopefully keep
But
weaving more.
it's really fascinating how you know a creative idea germinates in the first place, and then how you can build on it, and you know one thing leads to another, and before you know you're doing something totally different, which has probably nothing to do with what you set out to do in the first place. So
Yeah,
that is what's the most fascinating part about you know being an artist, and I'm
yeah.
sure there's a little bit of artist in every person. It's just a question of you know for a number of years I used to feel that oh no, art is not for me, and you know I used to envy all the artists in my class, and I'm still surprised. I suffer from this imposter syndrome when somebody says you're an artist. I say, oh really? Am I? It's like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, I think so too. I think everyone has some form of creativity inside them. It's just a matter of, putting some time and exploring it. It doesn't
yes.
have to be like visual arts. Maybe somebody's interested in music. Maybe somebody's into cooking. Maybe somebody's into writing poetry. So it's just that taking the time and exploring it and finding out what it is and keep doing it and making it as part of their life and making a positive habit in their life. It's just like working out. Not
Mm.
everyone is supposed to become an athlete, but it's good. It's good if you do it for your own health and longevity. So I feel the same way about art.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, it was very nice talking to you, Puja. Thank you
Lovely
so
talking to you too.
much for
Thank you.
accepting my invitation and giving me your time. Our morning, your night there.
Yes, yes.
It
I'm in
was a
party mode now. I'm going to have a party at home, and
good.
you just beginning your day, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, we have another live coming up after this one.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, we're preparing for that as well. And we'll have another live coming up on Friday as well, which will
Okay.
be with another visual artist from New York. So I'm really
Wow.
excited to learn about him. Yeah, please yeah, just keep in touch and join us for Friday as well, and all the
Definitely.
upcoming, events that are we'll be having more artists in this program, and it's a very nice community that is kind of getting
I'm
bigger and
sure.
bigger every
And you playing a very big role in getting us all together. Thank you.
day.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You are very welcome. It's my absolute pleasure. All right, Puja, I'm gonna say
Thank
goodbye to
you.
you. And thanks to everyone who joined us for this live event. It was very kind of you with all the beautiful flowers and hearts and everything that you sent us. We'll see you again on Friday. And if you're staying for our next live after this one, it starts in about half an hour.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night.
Bye.